The nowadays dynamic and complex business environment demands a consumer-driven supply chain strategy. More personalization should be offered while optimizing profitability, and a one-size-fits-all strategy is outdated. The question now is, how do we set up a future-proof strategy? A warm welcome to Camille and Marcio, our supply chain experts, and a warm welcome to today's Invent Talk, in which we dive into the world of supply chain segmentation. Earlier, I mentioned the dynamic and complex business environment. Camille, what is this complexity, and why should our clients evaluate their supply chain strategy?
We see several trends in the market. Supply chains need to become more customized and products need to become more personalized. What we've also seen is that consumer products and retail companies have adopted new business models and new sales channels, especially, for example, during COVID time. We've seen typical brick and mortar stores like IKEA and Action going into home delivery or click and collect. We've seen other companies adopting an e-commerce strategy, or typical B2B only companies shifting into business models that include direct-to-consumer distribution. What we've also seen in recent times in this complex business environment is that there's a lot of raw material shortage. There's price inflation, there's energy crisis, there's labor cost increasing. All of this adds up to margin pressure. So now it's really time for companies to evaluate the decisions made in the last couple of years, rationalize their product portfolio, and look into which markets, which products, and which channels they are actually using in their supply chain strategy. And supply chain segmentation can be a really big help in order to improve that supply chain strategy.
So you're saying that segmentation is valuable for evaluating the supply chain strategy. What is this segmentation all about, and what value can it bring to our clients?
The concept of segmentation is, in essence, dividing your product portfolio into individual segments using specific supply chain characteristics. You can use these segments to tailor smaller supply chains within your overall supply chain. And these segments usually lean towards a cost focus, towards a service level focus, or towards an agility focus. For example, if you have a high volume, low margin product with a stable demand like milk, for example, you might want to focus on cost optimization. For a product where you have a high margin, high volume, and also a stable demand, like perhaps baby formula, you want to make sure that this is always on the shelf of your stores, so you focus on the service level. And for other products, an agility focus might be more reasonable. For example, in the fashion retail, you see fast fashion retailers like Zara producing quite close to home in order to reduce the lead time to market by using sales data and trends to immediately adopt towards a change in the market circumstances. All of these individual segments require a different approach towards their supply chain strategy in warehousing, in distribution, in production, and in planning. In order to realize a healthy cost to serve, executing a supply chain segmentation is really key input for the supply chain strategy. It might mean, for example, reducing the number of SKUs, opening a new warehouse in a network, sourcing more locally or producing more sustainably. All of this can offer a certain value to the customer, for example, by increased supply chain resilience, risk reduction, or improved margins.
Thank you, Camille. And Marcio, now up to you. How does Capgemini Invent, how do we support our clients by establishing a supply chain segmentation strategy?
To successfully implement a supply chain segmentation model, it requires basically two key capabilities that Capgemini Invent offers. Basically, advanced analytics and supply chain management expertise. And typically, a segmentation project requires a three-step approach. So in the first step, we use the outcome of clustering algorithms, and we collaborate with the clients to make sure that we are creating segments that are meaningful, they are manageable, and understandable from the business perspective.
Okay.
Second, we develop cost-to-serve models leveraging our industry-specific references and use that to evaluate the impacts of supply chain and commercial trade-offs and decisions for each one of the defined segments. For example, we call this the configuration phase, and in the configuration phase, for example, we adjust inventory levels and replenishment strategy for each one of the segments. And finally, we capture the value the expected value from this segmentation approach by helping clients to implement the new operating model. And Capgemini has experience implementing supply chain segmentation projects in several industries and also in several clients with remarkable benefits. Just to illustrate an example from retail, that is a very competitive and tight margin market. We managed to implement a project for a retail client where we managed to improve sales and net margins by 5% and reduce overall stock by 11%. So it's really significant in this industry. It's an example of the potential, but of course have other examples in Capgemini.
It's very enlightening to hear that during this challenging time, supply chain segmentation can help companies improve profitability. It remarks why it's a hot topic at this moment. So thank you very much. If you are interested in knowing more about supply chain segmentation and to improve your profitability, please reach out to Camille and Marcio. And thank you for your time and see you at the next Invent Talks.